Hello, everyone. It's Bené Dior here. I'm here with Sharon Jerd, and she runs an amazing coaching school. We've just talked about our intention for this session, which is about transitioning into coaching. So if you're in this time of unraveling and weirdness in the world, and you're thinking you might need a change in your career, and you're thinking you want to finally make that difference and jump into a career that changes lives and has tangible results that you can see, coaching is often a popular one to turn to. And Sharon knows what you need to know if you're thinking about making that decision. So that's what we're hoping will bubble up for you to get all your questions answered. But leave any other questions that are unanswered in the comments, and we'll be following those, and we'll keep you posted there. All right, Sharon, would you like to tell us what is your school? How long have you been going? And just kind of set that scene for us.
Yeah, well, it's SMJ Coaching Institute, and it's where people have the opportunity to come in as coaches and speakers and become accredited master coaches through the institute. We've been going for a few years now, and I wanted to share with you how it came about, because it was a thread on Facebook, in social media of all places. And I was like, there's always a story. And I saw a post where a lady was saying, in a negative way, but trying to be positive, that she had engaged coaches many times and not got the results that she was after, and that it was loads of money for her, and she didn't know if it was the right coach for her before, spending large amounts of money. And I read the thread underneath, and there was loads. I don't even know how many, but I wouldn't be exaggerating to say hundreds of comments around people having this same experience. And I said to myself, well, how can, prospective clients, coaching clients, know that coach is for them and that they will add value to their life? And I thought, I'll do a registry. And then I thought, well, that's Google. Like, if you Google here on the Gold Coast, business coaches alone, there's 6 million entries for that. Like, so how do you find in that? And so I thought, well, if I had an accreditation process and a brand that was respected, acknowledged, known in the marketplace, where coaches could come together and therefore coaching clients would feel more comfortable knowing that this coach would be more suitable for them, rather than just picking someone out of Google. But what I found from that is that coaching is a really lonely world. You're sometimes a one-person business. You're all alone. You may have come from a corporate background where you had a support team or a network around you, and worked for a brand where now you're very, how people describe it to me is vulnerable or exposed, because it's about you now and what you can offer. And the feedback that I get from my master coaches in my program is how they feel at home, how they feel a part of something. They really feel accepted and have that support around them. And even though there was this logical thinking when I first started, this environment, and I feel it too, but that's me. And to hear it come back to me from my master coaches is really heartwarming for me, because to think that I can bring like-minded people together and in that supportive, encouraging way just warms my heart every day. And the more that happens, the more I want to do. Yeah, there's all the logistics around learning, techniques and processes, but really feeling like you're not alone is massive in this industry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and so I help hundreds, thousands have come through my program. There's different stages of my program, but at that master coach level, I've helped hundreds of women and men who were transitioning from something. And that's why I was really excited to talk to you about this, because that's where I help most people. Yes, accomplished coaches come in, but again, they're transitioning to another level. And, it is sometimes very frightening for people, knowing their business model, where their income's going to come from, how are they going to help people the best. All of those questions now, they can find somewhere to, help them find these answers. So
it's one thing that jumps out to me about you is you've got this real like head and heart balance within you. You're really strategic and business focused and very savvy. You've got that acumen really nailed, so you can really, and you communicate that beautifully, but also you really love your students, and you really, I think, over deliver, because you really want them to succeed. And that's what's really stood out for me when, in our discussions so far. So
the one thing that I teach, at my coaching program is there's two reasons why people will engage you as a coach. One is knowledge and two is care. You have to have both of those. You can have lots and lots of knowledge, but don't care about their successes or care about their challenges, wins, and even their clients, then that's not a great balance. And then you can have lots and lots of care, but really don't share your knowledge. That for me is the basis of my training around new coaches, is getting that balance really right. So I'm really excited that you picked that up in my sharing, because it's a real value of mine to have those.
Yeah. So when you've got people who are ready to transition, or they're thinking about transitioning maybe from their corporate job or from being a stay-at-home parent and into a coaching career, what are some of the questions that you get asked as somebody who can certify them to help them step up into this level? What are people most wanting to know?
They're wanting to know the processes around running. So we've got the logistics about running a coaching business. What does your model look like? How much do I charge? How many clients do I take? Do I run individual or group sessions? So there's all of that building of a business. So I get lots of questions around that, and I have my 7 steps to an amazing coaching business. There's 7 little easy steps you walk through. But the questions that I really love is about their own self-ability, and sometimes they have fear, a bit of imposter syndrome sometimes, where they're worried about, will people come and coach with me? How do I coach people in other industries? Because they may have an expertise in one particular industry and wonder if they can help clients in other industries, which I say a big resounding yes, because we don't teach industries, we coach people. Yeah. So if if a hairdresser comes to me and says, I want to coach with you, I'm not teaching her how to cut hair. I'm coaching her in herself, her own self-belief, negative emotions, if they're there. And so I help people become empowered to make that transition, to have that self-confidence, to have the belief in themselves, to have the clarity on where they're heading, and be a real support mechanism for that person. I've got the logistics around their business, but it's about your self-talk, what you're thinking inside, your internal representation of what that might look like. And so we work around a lot of that, because I always say, with your business, if things are tough or going, the crap heap, we look within. How can we be better at this? How can we change ourselves? What do we need to learn? And that's what I help people with. Because I think they need to have, I'm a big learner. I always, love learning, but a lot of people feel they need more learnings before they can start, and that's really untrue. I've had people start what I call standing start, never coached before, haven't got a client, and that's what we're talking about today. And going and building their business very quickly from that standing start. You can do that. Yeah,
you totally. I remember I did my coach training back in 2006, and I think I did my first intake weekend, and I signed my first client the next week. Like $60 an hour. I was so excited.
I
We
know.
were, she worked in the corporate, I think I was working as a contractor at Department of Health, and we went and
Yeah.
sat on a park bench, and yeah,
Yeah,
changed everything. It
I
was
know.
very exciting. So you can move really fast. I do want to circle back to, I just remember when I first, I knew that I wanted to get out of the corporate world and being an IT contractor. And I was like, what business looks good? I read the E-Myth, Michael Gerber's
You
entrepreneurial
need,
myth
yeah,
a million times. I'm like, okay, but I need something that I can be passionate about. I felt really so. It's like, oh, I'll do coaching, but I was really going not from a heart space at all. I was like, that sounds good. It's going to be a business model because I don't have any problems. I don't need to improve myself. Just circling back to like all that self-confidence. 20 years later, I realized that I still have so much to unpack.
absolutely. So do I.
So I'm so grateful that I got on that journey just for my own personal resolution, because I didn't realize how messed up I was.
Well, when someone said to me about negative emotions, so it was anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt, I'm like, I've got none of those.
No,
No, not
perfect.
me.
And then you start digging, and then you start
Yeah.
trying things on. But that's one thing that I feel is so important in the coaching career, in your coaching career, is actually to walk the talk. You got to try on everything you learn, and
Yeah.
you've got to feel it in you first, so that
Yeah.
you can then bring that into the world.
Yeah.
And man, it can be a long journey. Like for me, it was a lot longer than I expected, and still going.
I know. I absolutely am with you. It's a continual journey. It's not a destination, right?
Yeah,
It's not like, oh, I've got rid of all of that. Happy days.
done.
It's
Yeah.
a continual journey. It's
Yeah.
like eating lettuce for a day and think you're going to be skinny. That's not
Yeah.
how it works. Yeah.
Greg was right. We are onions.
Yes, exactly. And it just, it's about just going that next level, isn't it? You're here and it's changing your 10 out of 10. What you think, your measurement of success or your measurement of yourself, it just keeps improving all of the time.
Yes.
I don't want to reach 10 out of 10. I always want to be moving the goalposts and
well, they just keep moving. Okay, so I do want to start. You've gently touched on two of my pet topics, my soapbox area. So one is this idea of niching. And so I'd love to talk about that. Like, do new coaches need to have a niche? You kind of mentioned a little bit. I'd like to dig a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then this idea, I think there's a lot of misconception, especially with people starting their coaching business, on what coaching actually is and what it isn't. And can you have a coaching business that crosses lines? I'd love to hear you talk about those two things. So niches and what is coaching, and where do you draw those lines personally with your students?
I'm glad you asked me about that, because I'm very passionate about niching the subject. So you mentioned soapbox. Here I am.
Okay, great. It's the same soapbox. Fantastic.
The answer is no. I have a very strong opinion about niching. What I see, and this is what I see a lot of particularly new coaches come to me, they spend so much time worrying about their niche. They lay awake at night. They think they have to choose their niche for the next 20 years and build a brand around that. I'm telling you, if someone's talking to niching to you, they're selling you a program. And what I suggest to the coaches who come to me is this: start. Allow the niche to come to you, right? You may have an idea about who you want to work with, and we can chunk big in niching, but what happens is we get down into the detail and we never come out as coaches. And they believe that there's a right and a wrong, and that's not so. And one of my my coaches said to me, Sharon, what you're doing now, you will not be doing in 12 months' time. And sure, that was a short time. I'm like, what? I'm building this business around this. What do you think? But each 12 months of my business has changed. Not completely all the time, but it is pivoting all of the time. And so some people say to me, ask me the question, I get asked this question a lot: Sharon, what will you be doing in 5 years' time, 10 years' time? Because as coaches, we talk about goals, whole other session. But what I say to this is, I don't know. And people are taken back by that. But what I say is, I know I'll be sharing what I've learned.
Nice. I like that. Yeah.
So what people want from me, I will share out. So I run my Grow Your Coaching Biz workshop, my Grow Your Speaking Biz workshop. I've just finished my Grow Your Coaching Biz workshop this weekend. And that came to me from a need from the people I was helping. I attract mostly women. I didn't niche to women. That's just who I'm attracting. And that's who I'm helping. Yes, I've got men in my program, many of them, but the majority is women. If you want to say, I only want to work with women, that's fine, but that's not the niche that people get bogged down into. They go, I want to coach women between 40 and 45. And I go, a woman at 40 and 45 women can be at so many different places in their life. Yeah. I help people who want to change. Yeah. Now, as I've grown, yes, there's different aspects of areas where attracted to me. I help people to franchise because I own a franchise company. So I have that little niche around me. So, but what I suggest with coaches is start out and do it all. Experience all for yourself. Flex your muscle, and then you'll know what feels right for you. Because I'm telling you, what you think may be right for you, when you start doing it, may not sit well. Yeah? Because you might think you want to go and help women only, and then you coach a man, and then you go, oh, hang on, I really have fun with these guys, and I can really relate to them and help them, and they relate to me. Why narrow your vision of who you want to help? Yeah. Like, I want to help as many people as I can. And so my advice is don't niche down. Don't niche down and don't stress over it. And someone gave me a really good analogy about, they were in the beauty industry, and they said when they learn beauty, they learn it on all skin types. So young, old, male, female, looked after skin, not looked after skin, and they experience it all. And then they come to a place where they go, yes, I sit really well with younger skin, and that's where I start to work. So go out and experience it all. Yeah.
This is really resonating with me. One of my mentors, when I started out, said, go and just coach 200 hours by Nuka, like just get it done, right? Because then, and that's kind of what you're saying, like, and let it come to you. You'll know who you're attracted to, and you'll know who you love coaching, who you don't love coaching, who gets good results, who doesn't, and kind of let it evolve organically. A woman I met, I don't know, she's 80 something. She came and spoke to us about Mary Magdalene of all things, but she had this quote. I loved it. She said, "Don't panic. It's organic." I love that. Like, just let it unfold. It's beautiful.
Because so many people stress about this, and they have to have it correct because that's what this noise they've heard from others. And I get really passionate about that.
If you're going to create an online program or something that you want to sell, or a product, I mean, it helps to be kind of clear on
your message,
your audience, your message. Can you talk just a little bit about that? Like, where does that come in? Because some coaches be like, oh, I'm gonna create this online program. It's gonna make me a millionaire overnight, and I need a niche. Like, what do you say to that kind of thing?
Yeah. So what I say is, I think about big picture first. So what is the outcome that you want for these people? I want them to make more money. Yeah. So then who are you talking to? And in marketing, I do it completely different. I don't say women 40 to 45. I say people in values levels. So you guys might not have heard about this before, but people move through values levels in their life. And so values levels for people, this is a whole a week of training, but At level 4, people want the systems and the processes, and level 5, they want the money. Yeah. And that's not a good or bad. We all go through this, the values levels, but I talk to people who want systems around making money. I talk to people who want to take their income from here to here. Now, that might be a 20-year-old, that might be a 60-year-old. So I talk about the outcomes, and we move through pain to pleasure. So this person has this pain, yes, and I'm going to, allow them and teach them and share them and coach them to get from A to B. It's like a smoker giving up becoming a non-smoker. Now, a smoker could be any demographic, but they've got that pain, and we're going to move them to the pleasure. So in my marketing, I talk to people who have got that particular pain and wanting that particular pleasure, regardless. So I stay right away from, are you a woman between 40 and 45? Because that I talk to people who are here and want to be here. Yeah. And I run many, people say you get a confusing message. I run Grow Your Coaching Biz coaches. I run Grow Your Speaking Biz speakers. I run my hypnosis. I accredit, hypnotherapists with the American Board. And I'm very clear in my messaging. Yeah. But I don't narrow my thinking to an age group. It's the last thing I do.
That's great. Thank you so much for planting that seed. I think, that will blossom for some people. And okay, so let's switch gears now and look at what is coaching and what isn't coaching, and what's your view on what you need to actually bring to the market?
Yeah. So coaching, well, to make a great coach, firstly, what makes an amazing coach? An amazing coach is somebody who asks amazing questions. Full stop. Yeah. You don't have to have experience in any industry. In fact, if you're coaching someone in a different industry to you, it is better because you ask more amazing questions. Why do you do that? Well, the industry does that. Why does the industry do that? Why don't we change that up? So it's about asking good questions, because a great coach doesn't tell. We do not tell a coaching client what to do. What we do is we ask questions to allow them to find the answers within themselves and become resourceful. We don't want reliant, we want resourceful. And when my coaching client says, I'm good to go, and it's like a bird jumping out of their nest with their wings, I'm happy. I know I've done my job, because now they can find it within themselves. I do not coach anybody that doesn't know what they're doing. I can assure you they do. And in my event on the weekend, I had a lady who has not coached. She's a doctor, not one coaching client, hasn't got a name for her business. She came along to my event, and we nutted out straight away her 90-day plan. And I didn't tell her what she needs to do in the next 90 days. She knows. Being able to ask the right questions so they find the answers. And a lot of times they go, I don't know. And I say, my classic line is, if you did know, what would that be? So if someone's watching this right now and they're going, I don't know how to start a coaching client, a business.
When you're a coach and somebody says that to you, it's so annoying.
I know.
Damn it, got me.
What you're doing is allowing them to bubble up their own resources.
Because we do know, when we just get quiet enough to feel into it and think about the resources we have access to, we actually Fantastic. I think that's beautiful. So when you see, when you look out now at the coaching industry and you see people calling themselves coaches, and there's a mixed bag. I mean, there's mentors, there's consultants, there's coaches. I think there's very few people who are actually pure coaches, actually. It's usually a combo or some sort of a hybrid. What's your take on that? How do you feel about it?
I feel amazing, because I teach coaches. So I coach coaches. I share my information with coaches. I want more coaches in the industry. Because I live in a world of abundance, and there is plenty for everybody. If you feel that there's too many coaches in the industry, then you're living in a lack of, and that's your own self stuff. Yeah. And so I want, to accredit more and more coaches so we can help more and more people. I believe that people who are potential clients are much more aware in their openness of their thinking around coaching. Because back at 2018, I talk about the history of coaching at my events, is that 2018 was really the shift for people to go, it's not for the elite, it's not only for sports people, it's not only for the rich and famous, that ordinary people, and I say that in inverted commas, whatever that word is for them, now have coaches, and coaches are a prime source or support within their business. It is a must-have rather than a maybe if I can afford it have.
Yeah.
And
So I'm interested that you said 2018. What happened? Why 2018? Why do you think that things went mainstream? Coaching went mainstream in 2018.
Yeah, because it came from that we started using different language around it. Because people had a perception that there was a life coach and a business coach and a sports coach and a weight loss coach, but in fact we coach. And I encourage my coaches to call themselves coach and not put that word in front, because prior to that time, people had an internal representation of what a life coach is or a business coach is. And really, we coach people. Yeah, I don't coach businesses. People come to me, I joke a lot about, people come to me for a marketing plan. It's never the marketing plan. Yeah, it's about working with their own self and growing themselves and their resourcefulness around doing that marketing plan. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, let me look back at our amazing questions we have. Okay, I do love this one. In the bigger picture of what's going on in the world right now, especially with COVID and people in lockdowns and people moving more online, how do you see coaching fitting into that mix? Do you see it? What do you see happening from your perspective?
Yeah, I think that people are looking for more long-term support. You talked about consulting or mentoring. That's sometimes short-term. Consulting has come in, do sometimes. We don't do, we coach. And I've shared with my coaches in my program is that people are wanting longer term support because they don't know what the future holds. It's uncertain for a lot of people, and uncertainty can be fearful for people. So they want someone to hold their hand, pat them on the back, and support them in different ways. Some people need, I say, a size 7 sometimes because that's my shoe size. Sometimes they need to kick up the bum. And so as a coach, we bring all of that, right? Mm-hmm. But my business was online before COVID. My business is totally online, and my coaches in my program are online. So when COVID came in, my day-to-day life didn't change that much. I'd finish at the end of the day and go, oh, that's right, I can't go down to the shop or out to the restaurant. And when I first started hypnosis, people told me that I couldn't do hypnosis online. And I don't take that negativity on. I'm like, yeah, I get amazing results. So I don't know any different. But I had, particularly in the US, I don't know why, but a lot of the US called me and said, my coaching business is stopped, zero, because I can't see people face to face. And I'm like, I've never, I don't do coaching clients face to face. I don't even do it on video. That's not my business model. So I can be anywhere in the world. I don't have to be camera ready. Yeah. And so I changed a lot of beliefs around the coaching industry in how that business model can look. And it gives you so much freedom to have it online. And, like I said, you can be anywhere in the world. Even though you can't travel, you can be anywhere in your home and be comfortable in coaching. And the clients love it. They love not having to travel, being in the comfort of their own home, that security blanket when they're sharing things that are very intimate. Because a lot of times your coaching clients will share things with you that they've never shared with anyone, including their significant other. And when they're in the security of their own space, it allows them to feel more comfortable, I believe, to open up to you. When they come into your office, sometimes that can be frightening for people, to say the least, uncomfortable. So allow them to be in their comfortable space. And I think that brings more to the coaching session, for sure.
Okay, so the things that you're seeing, like the biggest trends at the moment are people craving that longer term support, and then just generally for coaches and clients, just being more comfortable from working from home and trying on that new business model.
Yes, yeah.
I see
Clients,
that.
I think the coaches are the ones that are holding back. The clients are wanting that virtual meetup, that experience in that way. But I found that the industry had this trend of projecting that out to their clients, that the results will only come from face to face, and that's entirely not true.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. You've spoken about this, your abundance mindset. There are tons of coaches pouring into the market because, of course, it's a very exciting business. To be able to do what we do is kind of a miracle. Do you feel like there is enough supply out there to reach the demand, the supply of clients to reach the demand
Yes.
that coaches need to take care of their families and pay their bills?
Yes.
Tell us about that. Give us that message of hope.
Yeah. Saying yes with so conviction. That's why I say it with a full stop,
Yeah. It works, man. I'm like, okay, what is it? What do you know?
Well, this is what I know. If you're not attracting clients, that's your stuff inside. Yeah. Open yourself up and let people know that you are a coach, that you have you have credibility, you have authority, you can bring outcomes to the table for them. Yeah. If you're holding back, then people will hold back in engaging you as a coach. I see a lot of coaches, particularly online presence, because that's where I live, online, that people don't know what they do. And I mean that by not the what. It's not I'm a hypnotherapist or I'm a coach. It's how you help people, why you do this, what is your story. Let people allowed to get to know you. We just talked about this earlier, where I'm a very big introvert. And so people go, well, I'm an introvert, and how do I, allow myself to, talk about that. I'm an introvert, and here I am in front of you helping you and other people all around the world. You can too. You can be an introvert and be successful in any industry. And I help a lot of introverts because they're attracted to me because I talk about that. I don't hide it in a closet somewhere. I'm proud of those things about me.
It's very surprising to hear that you're an introvert. I wouldn't have picked it.
Yeah. You know what? If I want to help people, I got to bring my best self.
Yeah.
And do I struggle? I don't use negative words, but for the ease of this conversation, yes. There's times when I want to procrastinate. There are times when I don't want to be vulnerable in that way. But when you start thinking about things like that, you're talking about yourself. You're not helping others. My focus is on helping others. My focus is not on me. So once you have those thoughts come in into your dialogue, into your self-talk, I turn that around by saying, okay, Sharon, that's about me. This video I'm about to do or this interview I'm about to do is not about me. I have to turn my focus to the people I want to help. And when I do that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I get a lot of emails, particularly around my written language. They grammatically correct me. And I used to struggle with that. I have limited schooling. I'm not an English teacher. And I really struggled with it for a long time. And then I went, well, they're missing the message. They're not the clients that are attracted to me. People would read it and understand my message without the grammar. And I had to let that go.
Oh, you're getting free editing. That's great.
Yes.
I always write back and say, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I was always appreciative. I'd go and make the changes. I was always grateful. But it's easy to take that on as a negative. Yeah. And when you're doing video, people, when you're starting video, coaches will worry about that. You let that go. You let that go. And it's that self-talk. Yeah.
Self-talk is everything. Okay. Where do you see the demand for coaches coming from in the future? If you feel that there's anything that's different on the horizon?
I think that it used to be seen as bigger corporations that they could afford coaches. It will be smaller businesses owners, and also people, because I keep coming back to I coach people, right? So it's not a business, but there'll be more work around people personally. They see it as personally, even though we do it all encompassing. If someone comes to me for business coaching, it's personal coaching. But people will come and say, I want to work on my relationships in my personal life, or with my children, or with myself, where initially we see the presenting problem as the marketing plan or making more money. Even though we work in those areas, they'll be more open about they need work in that area.
Yeah.
That, even depression was a taboo subject to speak about, not that long ago. But now people are coming and putting their hand up and saying, yeah, I've got challenges around my mental health. And they're getting that coaching rather than having a session with somebody. They will look for that coaching to, at a more longer term, 6 months, 12 months, to really embrace that. And I think that the more we talk about those challenges and struggles people have in business and in life, it'll be a better place. Yeah.
That's really nice to hear that you feel that there's going to be a rise in that personal desire for coaching. I think that'll make such a big difference on the planet if people do seek that support out.
And as coaches, we need to be having those conversations and allowing, that to happen, opening it up, because if we allow people to feel comfortable, that will, it's that energy transference and all sorts of other conversations we can have. But as again, I say, I look to me, how can I participate in this? How can I contribute as a coach? And for me, that's talking about it, sharing my successes with clients. And I say that with a my/our success in the coaching, with the coaching clients that I've had with mental health and depression and all of those types of things. It's a ripple effect, and we can change the world.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly why I started the Coach Guardian, and I do this kind of stuff because I believe in coaching. Like, I don't know, there's just something about it. I'm just hooked. I can't let go. Okay. Given all of this, what is your biggest piece of advice for coaches or people, and then especially people who are thinking about transitioning into coaching?
So particularly for the people who are transitioning, start now.
Yeah.
You're procrastinating. If it's in your thoughts, you are now procrastinating. And coaches say to me a lot, I should have done this years ago. I thought it was going to be more difficult than what it is. I worried about things that are a worry, not a concern, so that's my first point. Start now. The second thing is to be, for whether you're starting or wanting to take your business to another level, or your coaching business or yourself, is be consistent and persistent. They're my two words. Mm-hmm. Be consistent at what you do. Owning a coaching business can be quite boring. You do same, and what works, don't do the same if it's not working, but you follow up, you build relationships, you talk to people, you do your coaching sessions. And so there's a lot of consistency in having a successful business. Mm. And then being persistent about who you want to help, who you want to connect with, persistent in your own learning, because you might learn something and go, oh, I don't get it, and throw it out with the dishwasher water. So be persistent about things around you. get better at what you're doing. And so if you look at those two areas just as a whole, as an overall picture, overarching picture, you will be fine. You're absolutely fine. What happens with people is they might watch this video and they go, oh, what Sharon shared with me is amazing. They get going, they set too high expectations in the first week. It can't sustain that on a consistent basis. And then they fall in a heap and go, that didn't work for me.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Well, okay. And so let's talk about some of the other pitfalls when starting out. So because when I went to coaching school, this was back in 2006, it was real kind of rah, you can do anything, you can have this huge business in a year and 6 months, and you see people talking the talk and you're like, oh gosh, I'm not getting those same results. But I quit my job. I'm like, leap, the net will follow. And 3 months later, I was crawling back, for some part-time work. So, and two, I want to just add something else in there and then hand over to you. But I do think that investing in an awesome coaching training program was probably the best decision that I ever made, because I am a great coach thanks to the training I got. Like, I ask good questions. I know how to listen, like I know NLP, I know how to speak. Like,
I absolutely agree. I believe in walking the walk and talking the talk. So for me, my coaching training is my passion, because I know that when people come, and whether it's with me or someone else, but when they come into my program, they're going to go away with the tools that they need to immediately start coaching with confidence. And you would have felt the same.
I did. I just jumped ship a little bit too early. So
I'm going to talk about that. So the next thing is, my biggest belief is that you must have a coach. If you are talking to people and telling them that they must have a coach, and I say that in inverted commas and capital letters, then you must. You cannot be promoting something that you don't truly believe in. That's my belief. Yeah. So I'm projecting that out to you guys so you can take it on or have your own belief. That is a strong belief of mine. What I see is exactly what you've done today, is that you jump too early and you get all excited and it's not sustainable. And then you start retreating back and having to take that 10 steps back and go, whoa, I'm not getting the results that other people have gotten. So most of my coaches that come through my program transition. I've had people in my 3-day coaching biz go and give notice to their job, and that's scary for me. And that's worked for them amazingly well. My advice is to get coaching clients on a night or a weekend. Flex your muscle, get really confident with that. Believe in yourself that you're going to attract the clients to attract the income, and slowly move forward from there. I've got a lady, her name is Donna, in my program at the moment. She was working. She's now given up that part-time job. Her husband is now retired. He's at retirement age. But because of her, I'm not saying slow, it was quite quick, but it was a strategic progression.
I think that's a key word. Yeah.
Think
it through. Like, we need to bring logic and heart to it.
So you've got bills to pay. You have to put food on your table. And if the first week doesn't go as according to plan and you get thousands of people in your program, then you really need to feel comfortable about that. And
it's a good problem to have.
It's individual, because some people as coaches will hang on to that plan B and get a little bit, I call it a warm blanket, won't let it go. You need to let it go, but it needs to be a strategic plan where you've got a good coach helping you work through that at a very fast pace, because you want to transition fast, I would imagine. And so you do it strategically at a very fast pace.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, let's get to the part of the interview where we get to know a little bit more about you. Of course, little things have been revealed, but I love this. These are the bonus questions. So I guess, we can what's your number one advice for all coaches, people who are already in and people who are thinking about coaching? So we'll chunk up a little bit.
Yeah, you have everything inside you that you need.
No, it's so true.
Comes to me straight away. My advice, we talked about, getting a great coach, but you can do it. You are no different to everyone else. We're all different, but we're the same. You're no different to me. I'm nothing special, as people put that definition around, right? All of the coaches in my program are just genuine, ordinary, in a positive way, people. You don't need to be spectacular to be a great coach. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to have climbed the biggest mountain in the world. Like coaches think that they have to do something like that nobody else has done to coach. That's simply not true.
What do you think about the whole influencer thing? There are a lot of coaches who kind of do that influencer social media thing. Do you have to be an influencer on social media to be a good coach?
If someone said to me, Sharon, are you an influencer? In that respect, no. Do I influence people to move from A to B when I'm coaching them? Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's where I want to influence people.
Becoming an influencer takes so much time and attention on that, and you should be coaching.
Yeah, that's about you. That's an ego-driven thing a lot of times. I have an ego, but I don't get it from that external recognition. My ego is heightened when one of my coaching clients does something amazing. That's where I get the ego. So when you're talking about being the influencer on social media, I have a process as I teach at my Grow Coaching Biz about, it's called a 5-point formula. We go through this formula to go, is that good for me or not? Why am I doing that? What's the outcomes for me? What's going to show up in my life if I do that? What's going to not show up in my life if I do that? Who are the people I'm not going to meet if I do that? And who are the people I am going to meet if I do that? So we ask ourselves lots of great questions again. Usually we get to the end and we go, yeah, that's not for us. That's not where I'm heading. That's not my underlying why of who I want to help and why I'm doing this. So it's a really great process to go through, because we tend to get a lot of noise from our online marketing telling us we should be doing this. We should be an influencer. We should be doing this. And a lot of times it doesn't work for us personally.
Yeah, we got to cut through the noise.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You have a process for that, but you've got to do your course to do that.
Yeah, if you join my Master Coach program,
damn it,
a lot of stuff back, but I don't think I've ever shared that process outside the program. Not that I have said I don't. I've just never had the opportunity to do that.
You just have so many nuggets to share. Well, I just have to get talking to you more and more. I get nuggets every time. What is your definition of success?
Success for me is a journey. So it's not a destination. So people go, are you successful? Well, I'm a success because I help people every day. So I wake up in the morning and say, whose life am I going to change today? And I go to bed tonight going, whose life did I change today? Yeah. And when I can answer those two questions, I feel success.
Okay. So changing lives.
Yeah. I go out every day to change people's lives. I don't go out to earn a certain amount of money. I don't go out to get a certain amount of clients. I don't go out to do a certain amount of videos, posts, all of that sort of stuff. I do things when I'm doing something, I'm going, is this changing people's lives? Yes or no? Yes, I'll do it.
Okay.
But I do feel when we talk about success, I talk about heartwarming, because that's how I define success. How warm is my heart when my coaching clients are having their own successes, whatever it is for them. That's where I feel my heart the warmest, when they're helping more people. And so if I had to say, is that success? Yes, for me. How warm my heart feels when, I hear about all of this happening.
I watched an interview on YouTube the other day with a Shaolin monk, and he was talking about what makes a good teacher. And he says that the students of that teacher have what the teacher has.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
You are a Shaolin monk.
I didn't realize, but yes, I'll take that on.
Yeah, how interesting. Okay, so next question. What are you grateful for, Sharon?
There's lots. I do a gratitude journal every morning, and you know that gratitude journal very well, because I use the one that you contributed to.
You read the gratitude diary.
Yes.
I write in mine every night too.
Yep. So I utilize that diary, and I gave everyone in my program one of those diaries.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Melanie's just amazing. She's been on this podcast.
Yes,
too.
yeah. But what I'm grateful for is changing people's lives. Absolutely. In the context of what we're talking about here. Yes, there's, my family and my partner, and I could go on for hours, but in the context of what we're sharing today, I'm really grateful for all the coaches out there who are changing people's lives.
Right.
Love it. Love it.
Okay, last question. If you could only share 3 truths with your nearest and dearest about life,
yes,
what would they be?
Oh, good question. I love good question. Truth. I do have negative thoughts and limiting beliefs probably daily. It's not about, I'm not this perfect being, we're not perfect. If we try to be that, we set ourselves up to fail. I be the best that I can be. And I acknowledge that. I don't deny that thoughts come into my head that I don't want to have there. But what I do is I acknowledge it. I go, oh, yep, I'm acknowledging that. Thank you. Because I identify why I've got that thought right now. If I'm not feeling good enough, yep. I understand why that's coming in. That's how I used to think. This is how I now think. And I think that I am empowered. I have the knowledge. I have the resources, support, whatever. And I let that flow out of me. I don't dwell in that. It doesn't stay here for me.
I love that. I mean, it's been a big part of my journey in the last 2 years, especially, but that mindfulness of having the thought, acknowledging it and accepting it, thanking it, and then letting it dissolve and flow out. Like, it is that easy, and it's a skill set we need to cultivate.
From me, my coaches have a belief until they, I have a conversation with them that they shouldn't have any negative thoughts.
Yeah. But we're human. Like, we're here to have this experience. It's a part of it.
That negative thought comes in because your unconscious mind is protecting you in some way. And it may not be relevant now. It may have been relevant many years ago, but it's not relevant or doesn't serve you well right now. And changing that up. So that was the first thing. The truth is I do have that stuff in my head. Yeah.
Nice.
The truth is, another truth about me is that I'm not always in work mode. Because some coaches believe that they need to be working all of the time. It needs to be their total focus. They need to have, this almost laser driven. I talk about laser driven focus in my training, but that's not all the time. I have me time. Whatever that word is for you. I get my hair done every Friday morning at 8 a.m. For me, that's like a massage or a facial or playing golf for other people. It's me, and I don't feel guilty about that. I just came off my 3-day event. Very next day, I laid out on my balcony. I had no tasks to do. There needs to be a time when you have no jobs to do at home or at work. I laid there doing nothing, just being in my own space, and people are like, you did? I don't imagine you like that. I watch Netflix. I watch TV. I drink champagne. Don't let it go, people.
We're here to live too.
Yeah, because at a time I used to be frightened or scared to tell people that I had a drink or I ate chocolate. My diet's bad. I didn't exercise this morning. But you try to give this perception that everything's good in the world, you know, in your world, and it's not always. You know, I ate too much cake. Who cares?
Yeah. Oh, that's gorgeous. Okay. So you do have negative thoughts and you manage them is number one. Number two is you're not always in work mode. It's important to have me time. What's the third one?
The third one is, good question. I want to talk about this in a negative sense first up, because I got asked this question in an interview, and it really took me back, is I don't have any hobbies. What I say about that is that I do like doing lots of things, but sometimes we feel like we have to have this great thing in our life as a hobby that, to balance up our life. You know, and when someone said to me, do you have a hobby? I'm like, no. Do I like spending time with friends and going out for dinner and doing all of those things, spending time by myself? Don't put too much pressure on what people think you should be doing or shouldn't be doing, whether it be in business or in life. I don't do the shoulds. And so that's my truth. I wouldn't call myself a rebel. I don't go against the grain. I love systems and processes because that allows you to move forward more quickly, but I never take on the shoulds. And when people tell me things in my head, I'm like, reject. I'm not doing that. You know, I don't have to do that. You know, I should be having a massage every week. You know, I had a massage yesterday. It's great, not my thing. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, I used to beat myself up about that, you know, not doing it all, you know, to have a great life, I should be not watching TV. I should be a vegan. I should be, I'm all of those things. I'm all of those things.
I love it. Thank you. Okay. That's a great list. Don't do the shoulds. I do a lot of should hunting in my coaching. I mean, there's gold there always.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's something important that's under that.
I know. Yeah. So I love systems and processes and learning from mentors and coaches so I can move forward more quickly. That's a whole different conversation. This is about what you should be doing personally. This is about the truth within yourself. You do what's good for you.
Yeah. You know? And just feeling into that and then having the courage to speak it. And say, no, that doesn't feel good for me right now.
No, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't serve me well. My body needs meat, you know, and vegan works well for everybody. And I accept that. I don't judge anybody for that. Yeah. You know, I need my hair done. People would call that materialistic or selfish sometimes, you know, but that works for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's the truth within me.
Yeah. Wonderful. I love it. Okay, Sharon, that wraps up our interview. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking to everybody. It's been a delight, and I hope to see you a lot more of you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you know, I hope that I've added value to your audience today, and I want to welcome them to connect with me on social media. I live in that online world.
Yeah, and we'll put all of your links on there because I think you've got some fantastic trainings. Some of the ones you've spoken about, maybe we can even just give a little blurb just in case anybody is interested in taking that to the next level. That would be fantastic. And I think you do like a lot of free events.
Oh,
yes, don't you?
Yeah. I come from a giving place. And some people say to me that, I give too much, but I don't take that on either. You know, you should be charging for that.
Should, yeah. Fantastic. Well, we'll get all of, thank you so much. We'll get all of those links in there and we'll get this up soon. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to post in the comments.
I'm a real person, so you can talk to me. You know, I want to talk to people. Yeah.
The thing I'm learning more and more, I think when I first started in coaching, it was like the facade and who I thought I should be and what I needed to look professional and but that barrier is really melted away, and I just want like connection. Like we're just people. Let's have a conversation. We don't. Yeah, we're all perfect in our own imperfections.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I like, for anyone that's watching this right now, I just want to reiterate that. Please reach out, ask me questions, say hi, because I do want to hear about what you're doing. And if I can serve you or help you in any way, that's the place where I come from.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think that's, why our relationship has started, because I get that from you, and you were just incredibly generous with your time. So thank you so much again for being here, and I'll see you later. Thanks everybody for watching.
Bye.
Happy coaching.